Look at this. What an amazing animated sequence. When I first watched it, I realized this is just not grabbing any emotional strings for me. My biggest gripe with the whole Arcane series is that it is a visual masterpiece, but it could not become a masterpiece from a writing point of view. Season 2 is over, and I see a lot of good things, but let's talk about some problems in the series. My rating for Arcane is 8.85 out of 10. I gave 9 rating to Season 1 and 8.7 to Season 2. Now before starting, here are the contents. Season 2 has a rushed ending, plot points from Season 1 not completed, Heimerdinger is a fraud, the Zaun problem, the Jinx origin story, the vagueness of the powers of Hextech and the Arcane, Ambassa and the Black Rose feud, and maybe some more. Okay, so let's start with talking about Season 2. Like most, I liked and enjoyed Season 1 more. Season 1 established a lot of things, and Season 2 was all about not following up with all that was built up in Season 1. Season 1 showed the tension between Undercity and Piltover, how the Undercity wanted their free nation of Zaun. Season 1 was all about Zaun and Piltover. Season 2 concluded with Piltover and Zaun together defeating Noxians and the army of the Immortals.
Glorious evolution.
But hey, when did Piltover and Zaun got together? I mean, for years things have been pretty serious between them. Well, Jayce gave a speech about saving humanity, and that was 4 minutes of screen time. And that solved everything. You see, this is an example of how rushed things were in Season 2, especially in the last 2 episodes. Getting into Season 2, the main point of interest was conflict between Piltover and Zaun, and the resolution of that plotline should have taken more time. But no, their idea was that in the great fight of saving humanity, both Piltover and Zaun will forget their past and fight together and fight together even after the war. Firstly, I don't think Zaun needed to get involved in that war. The main attack of Noxians was focused on Piltover. Secondly, if this battle is going to be the point of resolution of everything, at least do some build-up beforehand. Literally, there was no mention of war happening before episode 8. It started out of nowhere and culminated everything. You know what it felt like? When you go to a restaurant and order your favorite meal. You're hungry and excited. The waiter tells you that it will take time. You wait, and then they tell you, unfortunately, the dish could not be served. Instead, they serve you pasta. Well, I did not order pasta. I did not order Noxians invading Piltover on my table. And I don't understand why. Why Ambassa would exhaust all her resources and help Viktor when she knew he would evolve everyone.
I will evolve all those willing.
How was she thinking to control him? Another very crucial resolution was Vi and Jinx. Their feud came to an end by involving Bender as Warwick in the story. I did not like when they brought back Bender. Absolutely not. They pulled my goat out of his grave, shoved him into a beast and tortured him more. Jinx realized Warwick is Bender. Why would she want Vi's help?
You don't actually need my help. Last time Vander needed us, we tried it alone and nothing was ever the same. He's your father too.
Yeah, father. Well, I very well remember how you were hugging your father's killer right in front of your father's dead body.
Blah, blah, blah. He's your father too.
And why the meathead she is, trusts Jinx, goes into an underground tunnel. If Jinx wanted to, she could have easily trapped and killed her in there. 2 episodes back, they were at each other's throats. At least bring a hidden weapon, or set a condition like handcuffing Jinx's hands. That would have tested her trust. It felt like they were just setting up Jinx and Vi to be on same side for the war. That leads me to Jinx's death. Now, I could smell her death incoming from way back. I wanted her to face consequences. I did not want her to get any redemption, which certainly the series was hinting to. Thankfully, Caitlyn was smart. But what I would have preferred is that her last act of death at the climax of the story could have been her redemption. Or I would have liked her death to be a tragic one, like if she would have been successful in the starting of episode 9. Another interesting way would have been if she and Vi escaped Piltover together at the end. But none of this happens. When the war was over, everything was sorted. She suddenly had to die saving Vi. It literally felt like a side quest. Writing her death at that point was pointless. This kind of explains how Jinx and Vi's narrative felt sidelined by the end. Silco's death created a big gap. Jinx could not fill that gap. And eventually, our main focus was on all the grand things happening and not the dispute between two sisters. Even the rules of Arcane and the whole system behind magic was just too vague. Viktor getting into singularity, creating
Glorious evolution.
at least they should have explained a little more than that obscure analogy that Jayce gave. Because without any proper understanding, it is difficult to know the stakes of the situation. For example, Viktor says he is in singularity. He could heal people, somehow talk to dead people. All these godlike powers made me think that Viktor is now too powerful. But a single Hextech beam took him out, despite he himself was made of or coated with hex core. Now, they talked about how intensive use of Hextech is disturbing the arcane and causing wild runes. In my mind, magic of any type should be using the arcane, whether it be magic using the hexstones or magic that mages use. But how does only Hextech usage affects arcane and creates anomaly, while mages are freely using magic? Look at this scene of war between Piltover and Undercity. The very first scene of the very first episode of the first season of Arcane. When you see it, you think that, oh, I want to know the full context behind the war. Then the whole series go by and you realize that you did not get any more info about this war. The most important story that we needed to know coming into season 2 was the backstory of Silco and Bender. But that too was never fully shown. I'm still clueless why Bender was beating the shit out of Silco. Maybe I missed something. I don't know. This will take me to the next point. What the fuck is the Zaun's problem? By Zaun, I am obviously referring to the Undercity. Now let me explain this one. Throughout the series, we have been told to believe, through various dialogues and elements, that people of Zaun are suffering.
I grew up knowing I'm less than them, that my place is down there.
But why and how? We see terrible condition of people in Undercity, but we never see how Piltover government is the oppressor here. Let me go through this chronologically. Stay with me, it will make sense. First episode, war scene, represented like enforcers are the bad guys. They have killed wise parents. Although definitely many enforcers must have died too. But you are made to think that enforcers are the bad guys here. So, in my mind, I think when we see the faces of people in charge of the governance in Piltover, we will see their oppressive and discriminatory policies against the Undercity. We don't see that. No. This had enforcers cause Kids Grove caused a blast in the city center. Valid decision, nothing too aggressive here. Silco kills enforcers. Now this is serious. Oppressive government will now take extreme measures. They will settle with imprisoning Y. That is regular punishment. Then we have the time skip. Progress day. Jinx blasted end. More enforcers get killed. Hextech gemstone is stolen. This is outrageous.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
The oppressive government will not tolerate this. They will pull all their strings and will really make the criminals suffer for their lives.
Perhaps the time has come
Okay.
to explore a more radical solution. What do you suggest?
Yeah?
I propose that a new chair be brought forth.
Oh.
The House Talus be elevated to this august body. Right. As a councillor, he will have the resources necessary to protect all our investments.
Their action to this felony was making Jayce a counselor. A very radical decision indeed. No, seriously, look at the downside numbers. Mel, we are supposed to believe is wise. Jayce is a new member. Heimerdinger seems too fine, although he's a bum. I'll tell you this later. Shula said this. Kiraman made grey ventilation system. Salo and this guy are just fools. And Bolbok is Bolbok. I want to see these guys taking actions. They are the oppressors and they can't even deal with a single blast in the city. They know about Shimmer, but they cannot confiscate it. To retrieve the stolen gemstone, they send no one. Caitlyn went there on her own account. They are being attacked, various disturbances caused by Zaunites, and they are too afraid to make weapons for their own protection? They showcase no authority. Heck, I see zero enforcers in the Undercity until the time they start Jinx's search. There is no patrolling unit, police station located inside the Undercity. They even admit enforcers are fearful to enter the lanes. Piltover looks very passive, weak, and they talk about maintaining the peace. This is not what I expect from the government. I should think is oppressive. Even later, I don't think they took that long to agree to negotiate to Silco's demands. They were ready to give in Zaun without any actual fight. They also started portraying the situation like it's some misunderstanding between Piltover and Zaun. And with this changed narrative, now I want to see what really caused this misunderstanding. If it really is that. Do the counselors look mediating just because Jayce is now included into the members and because he and Mel are open to dialogue? But if that is the case, why has Heimerdinger not been the voice of reason between Piltover and Zaun all this time? He has been around since long before. That puts Heimerdinger into bad light, to be honest. I would say that maybe the bad condition of lanes is due to Piltover's ignorance towards them. But how can we be sure of this? That's why earlier I said that we needed the backstory in order to know how it all started. It can be the case that Piltover isolated and discriminated the Undercity, which impoverished the lanes and led to all sorts of illegal activities thriving there. But it could also be the other way around, that first, illegal activities got rampant in the Undercity, and due to that, the Piltover government was not able to control it and isolated its affairs with it.
The Undercity cannot be controlled. Not by us.
We just don't know what the past scenario between Piltover and Zaun was like. Silco said that they were a minor community who suffered. But that was way back. Look at this guy, or this girl. Common people in the lanes who are not associated with any crime group. How is Piltover people causing them problems? Is it high taxes? I think the first blame would go to the crime lords for developing such a terrible environment for kids to grow into. Even Ekko said that Silco's shimmer production was the problem for them.
Silco flooded the lanes with shimmer. He didn't care what it did to people. Everyone here was an addict or a victim. They needed somewhere safe to start again.
Let us also compare the casualties caused by both parties. The Zaunites killed 18 Piltover citizens, including enforcers, warden, and 3 counselors. Additionally, many enforcers were killed on the bridge. Numerous enforcers were killed by Arcane and Zaunite Shimmer soldiers. Plus, numerous enforcers were killed by Warwick. Surprisingly, they caused even more casualties among their own people throughout the series. A total number of 20 Zaunites were killed, including Benzo, Plagal, Milo, Vendor, several Firelights, Finn, Silco, and Smeech, plus all the commune members who perished alongside Viktor. Viktor was a Zaunite, so this one counts too. In contrast, Piltover only killed 4 Zaunites. Despite losing 3 counselors, they generally seem to strive for peace. Among these 4, 2, Connell and Felicia were killed in a flashback during the very first episode. The others were Rennie's son and Rennie herself. However, Rennie's death might not even count, as she was killed by a Mesa who isn't from Piltover. Additionally, Piltover killed one of their own. Now, looking at these numbers, I seriously cannot sympathize with Zaunites. I understand their struggle, I see their poverty, but I cannot feel their pain or connect with their fight. Okay, moving on. Jinx released Grey, a highly intoxicated gas set up to be a real danger. What did it do? Nothing. In that moment, Lorris was touching grass outside, unaffected. Well, what Grey actually did was to get people in support of Jinx, as it was seen as a revolutionary act against Piltover. These people are getting beaten by the Noxians, but they ain't giving Jinx. No one in the Undercity betrayed or snitched. Cameron's talked about giving Jinx to Piltover for their betterment.
She's right. We don't get topside off our backs, we don't last. But I got a different solution. We give them Jinx. That's all they really want.
We don't hand over our people.
We don't hand over our people. We kill them. Alright, Sevika, but I don't think that was the case when you and Silco gave them Vi as a prisoner. You cannot do the same here with Jinx, even though I know that your relation is not that good with her. I was surprised to see Sevika working with Jinx after all this. But what was even more shocking was Firelights supporting Jinx. Bro, she was machine gunning your friends. I just don't get it. Firelights have always been fighting against Jinx and Silco. This guy even said,
All these years, we finally get rid of Silco, just so a new one can take his place.
and you know, your friend, your leader, Ekko, is working with Heimerdinger from Piltover. Seems like you even got a deal with Piltover government. Still, why would you not give them Jinx? Instead, you are now part of the riots because you saw a kid waving blue smoke torch. They went to prison for Jinx. And the funny part is, 2 days later, they are now fighting for Piltover. And while we are talking about Firelights, what the was this council meeting? Arcane Season 1, Episode 8, Oil and Water, 21 minutes in. I can just not wrap my head around this discussion. But before going in the council, let's go an episode back where they formulated their plan. Ekko explains his problem, that enforcers are hunting them instead of Silco. Caitlyn said that she would return the gemstone to Jayce and tell him that Firelights are innocent and they should target Silco instead.
The sheriff betrayed us. We need better information.
A single officer was able to trick the whole system, and that just goes to show how poor your system is. Caitlyn tells how Undercity people are suffering, and Silco is the main reason behind it. Well, she should have talked about Firelights being good people, but whatever. Why tells the gemstone is with Jinx. Jayce said that they will go in by force. Certainly, Caitlyn does not want that. Girl, you came here so that counselors target Silco. You don't want them to use force? Then what do you want? She did not give any alternative. On the other hand, Y is mad because they are deciding not to go in by force. And the meeting ends without any conclusion. And then Y and Kate talk like counselors were not taking right measures. Like, what the... Ladies, what was going in your mind before you came here? What was the plan? Caitlyn did not want the fight for Undercity people. Why, who is from Undercity, wanted to fight. And if you had any alternative way, tell them. What a stupid meeting. Ekko fought on the bridge, put his life on line for this?
This is a poor use of our time. What about our pledge to improve lives? For those in need. For the Undercity can do soon. There are people who need our help now, Jayce.
Dear Viktor, he always talked about helping people. That Zaunites are in need. He said Hextech will treat them. But bro, how? Would you give them Hextech weapons? Or are you talking about medical healthcare using Hextech? He was definitely not talking about
Glorious evolution.
at that point. But bros, what they first need is good government policies. They want policies that work for their betterment. Your friend is in the council. Tell him, ask him to make necessary changes. In the end of the series, they show that Sevika is now a council member. Sevika will be the voice of the Undercity. Bro, Viktor should have been doing that before Sevika. He was a Zaunite.
I'm from the Undercity.
Now, let me talk about characters. Arcane has some wonderful set of characters that people already love because they come from League of Legends world. The show deals with the right amount of characters and really every character is fleshed out. There were just some few side characters in Season 2 that we did not get much from. Like Lorris. He was just there, not any particular special reason. He was not in Season 1 and was suddenly there in Season 2. Though I liked him and that was said to me for some reason, I don't know. Let me tell you my top 3 characters in the series. At third, I got Silco. Second, Ekko. And at first, I got Jayce. Before Season 2, Viktor was at first, Silco at second, and Jayce at third. Viktor really dropped into the rankings after Season 2. And Ekko climbed from fourth to second. Now comes the main star, Jinx. People love Jinx. I hate her. She is an attention seeker, insecure psycho. Now some might say, but bro, she is written that way. Not every character needs to be wise. Volatile characters are good inclusion to the story. She is very complex character with childhood trauma. And it's not a writing problem. It's a role in the series. Well, they are friend? That's the point. She is hateable cause it's a writing problem. Let me just get to the point. My favorite episode from Season 1 ahead of Episode 7 is the third episode. The base violence is necessary for change. Man, that was such a good episode. The visual storytelling, the scene direction, the animation, along with great music, all was top-notch. And the sudden switch in the mood that the story took was absolutely unforeseen. And then comes the scene which I despise the most. Powder joined Silco. Why? I mean, why? In the whole series, multiple times they distinguish between Powder and Jinx. In a sense, like, Powder's nature is good and Jinx is a psycho.
Powder's gone by. All that's left is Jinx, and she belongs to
You're
Silco.
wrong. She's still in there. I can reach her.
You can't.
I know my sister.
That the incident at Silco's factory tainted and deformed Powder's good innocent side into a psycho Jinx is. But for me, there's no difference in Powder and Jinx. She showed erratic behaviors even as a kid. Look at this. This is Powder when Vi told her to stay for her own well-being. Vi said that she don't want to lose Powder in the fight. Still, and this is Powder when she sees Vendor dead in front of her. She cries, but what does she say?
I only wanted to help. Why did you leave me?
Self-preservation first, huh? Now, I would have taken her words differently.
She left me.
I mean, girl, your father's dead body is lying behind you. Your two friends are dead, and you are clinging to the very person who killed them. Why?
Stay away! She left me.
That is too unrealistic. I don't consider it a reason at all. Seriously? You know, it's like saying a boy turned into a murderer because his father didn't buy him a burger. Now find logic in that. Now I would have liked her more as a chaotic character, only if they did not spend too much time showcasing her trauma and psyche.
Things changed when you left. I changed.
It was frustrating. I thought I would like her more in season 2, which I did, especially after episode 7, but Jinx launches a missile towards Piltover Tower. I thought she's declaring war. She will take Silco's place and lead the Zaunites. But no, she softened after Silco's death. Did not give a when it was Vendor. She's not interested to lead the riots.
I told you I'm not interested.
Then what is that for? She did not retrieve Vendor's body from the factory, since made in Warwick, and now she acts like she cares a lot. She's sidelined in the story, she's irrelevant in the war, and she dies a pointless death. What a hell of a character. Season 2 did not do her any better. Okay, while we're at the topic of Jinx, I want to talk about science in the series. Hextech is Jay's life's work.
You would sacrifice your life's work?
He dedicated years of his life into studying how Hexstone works. Still, he needed help of Viktor to be able to create magic from the stone. And that too was maybe only 5% use case of the Hex. And on the other hand, Jinx was able to use Hextech within a day or two. And on the third day, she was already ready with a Hextech weapon. When I first saw that, I thought maybe during the time skip, she devoted herself into studying, and she actually knows what she's doing, but man, was I wrong.
It's all about these rumors. They form some kind of mathy, magic-y gateway to the realm of EBGBs, and this turns it on.
She don't know shit about what she's doing. I would have passed this as a small plot convenience. Every fiction has that. But no, this is a major thing. Aside Jayce and Viktor, no other scientist, even the goats among the goats, were able to understand the workings around Hextech and make weapons out of it. This has significant plot importance too. Silco was fully dependent on Jinx to figure out Hextech so that he could further his mission. The blast at the Piltover Tower was a major event built around this plot convenience. Jinx made the weapon all using her intuition and ingenuity, similar to what she does in the game lore. But here it's part of a bigger story, and you have to provide good reasons behind everything that shades the plot. We see something similar in episode 7 of season 2. Again, my favorite episode of the season, like many others. Absolute banger. In the episode, they spent a lot of time building the anomaly or the wild rune. When they were nearly done, Jinx asked,
So, what does it do?
I don't understand how you can work on an invention for so long and don't know what the invention do. How do you apply logic and calculation, or were you only fixing screws? But I understand. None of the three knew what anomaly can do. They realized they built a time machine by accident.
It's a time loop, huh? A time loop?
The great Professor Heimerdinger did not know how that happened. But a 4-second time machine could not take them back to their original world. Heimerdinger tells Ekko to attend the party while he will do some modifications to the model, and within an hour or two successfully made a parallel dimension machine. A huge leap from a 4-second time machine. And without any preliminary test, asked Ekko to hop into the machine and somehow had 100% confident that the machine will definitely take Ekko to the correct world line. And then he sacrifices himself, evaporates into thin air as he joins a pipe which came off.
I've truly lived. What?
That was ridiculous. And the fact that we see no one remorse his death. I have my many complaints with Heimerdinger, but still, I love that character. And his death was over and done with too quickly with no words from Ekko after the death. Nothing. Plot moves on. I mean, the abrupt sex scene of Vi and Kate had more screen time than this. Let's talk about this. First, he could build a parallel world machine in no time. Second, dear Professor Heimerdinger, you have been in this world for
1,128 days, 6 hours, and 20 minutes, give or take.
and you cannot wait one more day to refine your project? Like, there was no need to send Ekko at that very instant. First, be sure that everything is working fine. All the pipes are joined, all the screws are tight, structure is stable. Do some prior tests for God's sake, and then you and Ekko could have both gone to the other world line safely, together, without any useless sacrifice. And this is one of my problems with Heimerdinger. This guy is such a passive, complacent guy. Like, whatever the situation is, wherever he is, he just don't want to take action. He has been alive for over...
I am now 307 years old.
He has seen the Rune Wars. He was there when Piltover and Undercity first clashed. For some counselors, we can say that they might not have been there during that time. But for sure, Heimerdinger was there. Stuffwise, the Peacekeeper, Heimerdinger was there. And in such a long time, he was not able to stop the conflict between Piltover and the Undercity. This guy talks a lot about peace, but is completely ignorant to the lives of the lanes. In the council meeting, after Jinx stole the gemstone, Jayce took all the responsibility. He should not have. Heimerdinger should have been accountable for this. See, I don't know what faction each counselor overlooks, but should not everything related to tech be coming under Heimerdinger's supervision? He was the only scientist counselor at that moment. After becoming counselor, Jayce puts various restrictions over Hextech usage. He oversees the security, the usage logs, the transport, etc. But before Jayce became the counselor, someone else might have been doing this. Someone else who should be looking over tech. Someone who was not doing his work properly. I think it was obviously Heimerdinger. Jayce and Viktor work on academy grounds. Heimerdinger was the owner and the manager of all that, and he was not doing his work properly. And I don't know why the council meeting just thought to make Jayce the counselor.
Doesn't boy have any experience?
Only that of a scientist, like Heimerdinger.
Yeah, you're adding another Heimerdinger. You don't need that. Just hold Professor accountable for all this.
I believe Councillor Medarda is right. Hextech security should be administered by a scientist.
That would be you. Even later in the story, I agree to every word Jayce said here.
And who holds you accountable?
What?
Shimmer is rampant in the Undercity, attacks at the Hex Gates and in the Academy Square. Enforcers fear to set foot in the lanes, all under your watch.
Jayce, you forget yourself.
I'm sorry, Professor, but healing this city will take more than just speeches. Time and again, you've warned us what not to do. But let me ask you this. What's your plan to fix this?
I see what this is about. Your Hextech projects need more time, more safeguards.
Heimerdinger is all about words, no actions at all. Pro wants to do no work. Do some work, man. Same in the episode 7 season 2. Bro just don't want to use his brains. He just too settled, too complacent.
Please tell me you figured out a way to get us home. I've been able to accomplish wonderful things in this world. Give it time to settle. This place will grow on you, you'll see.
Grow on me? I have people back home who need me. We don't belong here.
And yet, we can't leave.
Moving on, I want to talk about the dynamic between Vi and Caitlyn. Their have been instances in the story where there is lack of dialogues around the conflict taking place. Vi and Kate got their moment. 10 minutes later, they split. People can't tolerate a little squabble in this world. Vi says,
What's wrong with you?
"Girl, you asked Kate to let loose the other 3 members, and for what?"
She'll smell their nerves a mile away and find a way to use them against us.
"Oh, that is no reason." And then you stop Caitlyn's aim. Why?
That was a kid. What have you missed?
Don't even say that. You just broke a machine gun with those gauntlets. And I don't think you would need those gauntlets to pull out Isha out of Jinx's arms. Really, from Caitlyn's perspective, she's absolutely right in doubting you. Later, when Vi and Jinx had some serious talk in the prison, Jinx alluded to shutting down herself. Isha's death took a toll on Jinx's mind. She's depressed.
A few moments later.
Oh, hey. Man, that was the most bizarre place to fit that scene in.
Hating you. I've hated myself.
I think there are a few more nitpicks, but let's leave them. I love this series. Well, I think that's it. See you later.